Welcome back to Purple and Gold Zone, episode number 11. No, I did not die. No, I did not start a Warriors show. I just took a really long break. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't even realize how long it was until I had to check what episode we were on. I was like, what episode are we on? And then I saw it was February. That's crazy. It's April now. Beginning in April, so we're good. But still, my bad, guys. Did not mean to take that long of a break. I was really busy. And when I wasn't busy, I was really lazy. But we're back. Honestly, we came back at the right time. So we didn't miss much while I was gone, especially towards the beginning with another LeBron injury. Queen James was down again. AD was out as always. What else is new? But stuff's a little bit better now, a little bit different now. So we got some good stuff to talk about tonight. I'm really, really, really excited. Also, I just want to shout out to my other show, Well Beyond the Arc. There will be a new episode airing Wednesday, I believe the 5th. Hold up. Wait a minute. Yes, the 5th. The 5th. So make sure to tune into that. And it will be at 7 p.m. Central Time. It will be on the Yankee and the Brit sports page. Head on over there. Don't just watch that. There's so many other great shows. And then my co-host Manoli has a sports blog, and it's great. He posts really, really great articles. You can find all this stuff linked at the Yankee and the Brit sports page on Facebook, or you can just hit it up on YouTube. Make sure to hit that with a subscription. But right now, enough of all that. Enough of anything else. The only thing I want to talk about is what's on my hat. That's Lakers basketball, baby. Let's get right into it. So obviously I made a little joke about Mr. LeBron James, but I think that's the perfect place to start for this episode, because that was one of the biggest narratives that was in between. Well, we could not talk about Lakers basketball on this show. I was not able to discuss one of the biggest, honestly, probably the biggest narratives and the biggest situations of the season, which was the LeBron James late season injury when we needed him most. LeBron James goes out February 26th, third quarter with an injury. It was very obvious that it wasn't going to be just, okay, bounce back, come back in, shake it off, come back the next game. It was very obvious it was going to be out. And LeBron has honestly struggled with foot injuries his entire time as a Laker. Following that championship run in the bubble, LeBron James had an injury. I don't know if it was in the same foot, but he had another injury. He's been injured. He has been injured as a Laker. This is not the first injury, unfortunately. And it's very similar to when Kobe had that monster season and then went down and was not the same after that. Now, again, I'm not saying that these are similar. I'm not trying to connect dots that aren't there, but it worries me that LeBron James came to this Lakers team and was supposed to not be the guy that was the leading force. Now, when he first got here, AD wasn't here yet. It was a bunch of young guys. I think he knew that's not what the team was going to look like the next season, but very well, maybe he wanted to give that squad a real shot, and it didn't work out. It didn't formulate, but it sure worked out the next season when we got AD. So LeBron has been injured and has not been in the best spot, because since they've gotten Anthony Davis is supposed to be that guy in the driving seat. LeBron should be hitting up shotgun. LeBron's not the one that should be driving, because LeBron has been doing that for far too long. If he is going to be a sustainable, healthy player, like I know he wants to be, especially to play with his son, he needs to be smart about what he is doing and what really matters to him. Like, what at the end of the day, what really matters to him. And that is the next part of this. And that is the part that I have some mixed feelings about. Again, he's out with an injury. He misses pretty much an entire month. I think he missed an entire month when the days come out counted, but he missed around a month. And then there was starting to be speculation building up towards the end of that time that LeBron might be out, that this might be not just some, Kevin Durant freak injury, which again, it wasn't that, but it wouldn't be a short term, KD's back. A lot of these players are coming back. Zion's like, this would be an injury that would be the rest of the season potentially. And that was really concerning. But the good news was it never came from LeBron. But then LeBron James makes his triumphant return in a loss. Okay. I know I'm critical. Might be overly harsh at times, but it's ridiculous because LeBron James announces he's coming back. It's announced that he's going to make his return, and it's like 4 to 5 to 10 minutes before the game. And He comes off the bench, which I didn't mind that. I was like, you know what? These guys have been in a flow, and LeBron is smart. He has one of the highest, if not the highest, basketball IQs ever. So he gets it. He understands they've got a flow. They've been not completely bombing. So let them start and win like they have done without me in the picture. It didn't go well. They lost. It did not foreshadow what was to come. You know, they lost to the Bulls, but it wasn't like the LeBron's too small from Pat Bev stuck, because the next game they came out and played like they were supposed to play that first game. So again, LeBron was obviously ushered into that starting lineup, and now he is in that starting lineup as he should be. And the last game he had was phenomenal. He played extremely well basketball. He cried a little too much, but that's just LeBron. He's going to play well, he's going to cry. It's just usually how that goes. And whether some is valid, some is not, it is a little obnoxious when they're winning and the game is done and he's still arguing about calls. Whatever. He's a professional. I'm not with that. So it's all good. But it's interesting. So LeBron ends up coming out after he's back. And this wasn't as of super recent. This was pretty like right after he came back. He basically comes out and says, yeah, 2 doctors told me that I should be out. I should be done. I should get season-ending surgery. So the internet and analysts and some people didn't take notice, because it's not like it's directly in your face. He's like, I'm playing on like whatever and whatever. It's not like he's saying I'm risking my life and my health. He's not saying that. Regardless of what level of true is there, it's not like he's trying to tell people he's dying or it's some like emergency. Like I truly don't think LeBron's trying to do that with what he's saying, but people were quick to be like, Mr. Narrative. And if you've watched this show before, you know I've talked about Mr. LeBron Narrative James. And if you are just watching this for the first time, Mr. LeBron Narrative James. See, it's very accurate. And he's chased narratives for the better back half of his career. And how can you not when you're a Los Angeles Laker? A lot of that is a narrative. It is a storyline. Like it's very it's a story. It really is. It's a storybook type of team to be a part of. But I've never been a big fan of some of the narratives that LeBron has chased. And I truly, in my opinion, I don't think there's anything wrong with like him expressing what he expressed about having the potential doctor saying potential season-ending surgery. And I'm not even denying that that's true, because honestly, LeBron James has not been extremely healthy. I would not be shocked if he is not an extremely healthy unit right now, because he has been an absolute beast, just a unit, Superman. And I think he's starting to not slow down, not like break down, but I just think he cannot do everything he could as much as he could. And I think the Lakers have asked a little bit too much of him. It's not that he hasn't delivered somewhat, but I mean, he hasn't delivered on his own. He's only delivered when Anthony Davis was actually Anthony Davis in the bubble and he had a good team around him. And that's no diss on LeBron at all. You cannot survive in the NBA. You cannot win an NBA championship just yourself. It's just not possible now. It never really was. It's definitely not possible now. So he needs that team. He needs that person to be in the driver's seat. LeBron has been driving for so long. Let him sit shotgun. He'll still do great things shotgun. And I think we're seeing that. Their last couple of games, we've really seen that, especially that game against Houston. That was their most recent game. And that to me was a big sign and a big showing that LeBron was more in the backseat. Yes, he was out there and he was starting and he put up some good numbers, but he wasn't in your face, had to have the ball the whole time. Like it was really a good mixed up matchup, and it was really like solid split up stats throughout the team. They really shared the wealth, and that is the only way to really be successful in the NBA nowadays. So I was really pleased with that. But in regards to the comment, LeBron obviously came out, as I said, and made the comment about the doctors saying season-ending surgery. And he didn't just say it was one doctor. He said there were multiple that recommended that said that they thought that was the best path. And so basically what he is doing by saying that is like, the doctors wanted me out, but I wanted to come back because I love the Lakers. I this and that. Well, people are speculating that actually he thought the Lakers were going to miss the playoffs and even the play-in. And so he was like, oh, I got the scoring record. I'm just going to sit and he was going to decide his future from there. And then the Lakers start picking up steam and picking up smoke. And it's like, yeah, of course we did, because we got out from under the cloud that was Russell Westbrook. I still don't think he was the problem completely, but he was not the solution, and we needed the solution. So we were under that cloud. That cloud is gone. It's a sunny day in LA again. And it feels really, really good and different. And so it's like, you know what? It does make sense. Like, it does make some logical sense that LeBron would see the shifting, the turning of the tide, and be like, wait a second, maybe I can come back. My whole thing is this. I don't blame LeBron for not wanting to put his body on the line and put his health on the line for a team that's going to miss the plan. I don't really blame him for that. I have never once really liked or agreed with many, if any, narratives of LeBron James, but this is one that, to me, it's not so much a narrative as it is like just something that makes sense. It's just like it's logical. He's making logical sense. He's trying to make a smart business decision, because his main goal is to play basketball with Bronny. He is not going to be able to do that if he is carrying this workload and dragging teams to 30, below 500 seasons. Like, that is not going to get the job done for anybody. So again, Lakers finally 500, like it is in the title. I should have celebrated. I'm late. I'm way too late to do that now, but I should have had a big celebration or something and to start the episode, but I did not. I was not on top of that. But finally 500. So we're not that team that I just said, but we very well could be, and that's who we were last year. And so I think that it makes sense, and I think that LeBron is at a place in his career where he can't try to please people. I think he tried to do that too much in Cleveland. And it's not like he was trying to please people, but he was trying to deliver a promise. He delivered it. And then he was trying to extend and build on that promise. And it just wasn't going to happen. So LeBron does not deserve to be in a situation where he has to drive. And he does not deserve to be in the situation where the spotlight is just on him. Anthony freaking Davis. Okay. Anthony Davis is the guy that needs to step up. And again, he got injured the other night against the Timberwolves, went out and came back in. I have never seen Anthony Davis do that. So Anthony Davis went out like injured, came back, dominated the game, and then played the next game too. He wasn't out the next game. So again, I just think it does make sense that this might be something that LeBron was looking at, and I don't blame him for that. Honestly, again, I don't have any problem with that. So to be honest with you, I do believe that it has levels of truth, and I have no issue with that. So as a Lakers fan, not a LeBron fan, I truly don't have a problem with that. And I'm just glad LeBron is back. And I really hope that this can boost his confidence in who we are and what we're doing, so that he can kind of make a decision to stick around if that's what looks best. And right now, I mean, how could it not? We look like a team that could make a run, whether that be this year or next year. The Lakers are finally starting to look like the Lakers again. So finally, I can finally relax, because oh my goodness. But again, season's not done quite yet. And speaking of that, we have some matchups still coming up in the regular season. Let's dive into those matchups and go over the rest of the Lakers' regular season schedule.
So we are in the final 4 games of the season, and oh my goodness, I cannot believe we are here. I remember I was counting down the games, and not in a good way. Counting down the games even just about a month or two ago, because I was like, this is causing the biggest headache of my entire life. I'm ready for this to be done, whether they make the play-in, the playoffs, whatever. I just want this to be done. But now that has been changed, and there is a big level of excitement. And it doesn't just go to where are we going to end up for the playoffs or the play-in or whatever. It really goes to what can we do to finish this season off the right way? Can we finish this season off on a good note and potentially finish with the best record we've had since the bubble? That's the question there. And looking at our final few games, our first one is against the Utah Jazz, and it's actually going to take place today as I record this episode. Basically, this is what I want to say about the Jazz. The Jazz really surprised people in the sense that no one really thought they were going to do that much before they did. They came out, people said they were going to tank, they were this, they were that, but they came out and they looked really good, and they were a top 8 team for the longest time, and they looked like they might be a team that could keep some steam going, but that soon dwindled out. I think part of the reason it dwindled out was the trade deadline. Yes, they did what they had to do with what they did, but I feel like something about the trade deadline kind of shifted their energy completely. We've seen that happen again with the Lakers. It was good. With the Jazz, I don't know what it was, but around trade deadline, they really started to kind of fall off a little bit. I mean, they still were not super high up at that point. They'd started to fall, but then they completely nosedived. So I don't think the Utah Jazz are that team. I think that they will be that team, but they're not that team yet. So I've got the Lakers handling business against them today, beating them 120 to 108. Looking at our next game, this might be the biggest matchup that we have on this schedule just because it's the Battle of LA. Come on, the Los Angeles Flippers. We got to beat them. Again, another thing is it's Russell Westbrook's first game as a Clipper. Excuse me, no, Flipper. I can't get that wrong. I cannot say the C. It's got to be Flipper. So anyways, Flipper. Westbrook's, as we all know, talked about it last episode, he's now a Flipper. And he has been playing pretty decent basketball. The Flippers have been looking pretty decent. They're currently sitting 5th, tied with the Warriors. Lakers are right there. I mean, it's literally right there. But Flippers are still in. Flippers still are avoiding the play-in. I think that they might end up getting bumped back to the play-in, or at least getting bumped back to 6th, but you never know. So I have us beating them. Again, Paul George is out. And that's one of their best offensive pieces is Paul George. Paul George is not underrated because everyone knows how great he is and what he can do with the basketball. But I think people sometimes forget, he had that gruesome injury at that Olympic basketball game, and I think it was a scrimmage, and so he's had another injury. Now he's out again, and there's speculation that he might be out. So not great for the Flippers because they rely on him. Kawhi is in, Westbrook is playing pretty good. It should be a really good game. I don't have us stomping them by any means. Even with Paul George out, the Flippers are no team to sleep on. So I have this actually being an exciting overtime thriller, but us winning 125 to 118 in OT. And then we play the Phoenix Suns. And yes, KD is back. He was not in last episode I did, and he's in. And the best part about this is this would be the first time Kevin Durant and LeBron James matched up since 2018. I like that. I do like that. I really do, to be honest. I think for me, it's like we get to see these two gigantic, just outwardly players that have this talent that a lot of other players even in their league don't have. We get to see them go head to head. I'm excited for that. So I'm excited for that matchup. I will say this, though. The Phoenix Suns are scary. The Phoenix Suns are extremely scary. They're 6-4 in their last 10, and they're on a 5-game winning streak. If you can go on a winning streak at the end of a season, that is extremely scary. That shows that you have that mentality and you have that energy. And so it does scare me a little bit that this Suns team is performing as well as they are, because that just means that they're here. This Suns team is here. And I mean, who thought they weren't going to be? I knew they would, because Kevin Durant, just like when he went to the Warriors, you have a team that is already talented. You've got a talented point guard. You've got some good shooters. You've got a pretty solid person down low. So this is similar to the Warriors. If you put Kevin Durant on a team like that, it overpowers them. It gives them that step above because you have him. So that to me honestly, that's the defining factor, is the team in Phoenix is just very deep, very talented, and I would not be shocked if we see that team make it all the way to the Western Conference Finals at least, if not to the finals. I wasn't on board because of Kevin Durant being out, and just I wasn't sure how they would play together, but they look really, really good. I mean, they are a powerhouse of a team. So I do have us losing to the Suns, but I have it not being a blowout by any means. 110 to 98. And then our last one, we're lucky. We get to play the Jazz again. And I say we're lucky because the Jazz, like I've said, are not that great of a team. And if they've been being beat up by the Nuggets, before they play us, because that's who they play in between us, they play the Nuggets. And if the Nuggets are going to stomp them, the Thunder will probably stomp them. So I feel like they're going to be beaten down by the time we play them again, which even if they weren't, we still got this. But no, I have us winning 120 to 106, and that would make our regular season record 43-39, which is our best record since our 52-win season, the season we won our championship. So to me, this shows an amount of growth that I did not expect to see this season by this team, especially after the way it started. 2-10 in their first 12. No team has ever made the playoffs that has started 2-10. So there's that. We are looking at being the first team to potentially do that, and it might not be play in, it might be play offs. So, speaking of that, I want to go through a couple of potential matchups we would see ourselves in, whether we're in the play-in or the playoffs round one. So we're going to go into a couple of potential matchups and just kind of talking through what potentially could happen and just what I think will go down if we are matched up against those teams, whether that be round one of the playoffs or the play-in tournament. Let's get right into it. So we're going to start with two play-in potential matchups that I think are the most likely for if we do see ourselves in the play-in. And the first one is against the Pelicans. Now, the Pelicans are a team that at one point, they were second in the West. They were rolling at the beginning of the season. Beginning to the middle of the season, this team was rolling. Zion's been out since January 2nd, and since then, they've really, really lost. We've seen just how big of a piece of that team Zion truly is. Again, they've got Ingram, they've got McCollum, they've got a really, really good team. They have a really solid squad, but without Zion, they're definitely missing that one piece. But Zion is out, but there is a rumor that he might even return before the end of the regular season. And if not, there's hope that he will at least return for the play-in or for the playoffs. It has not been ruled out that he could return for the regular season. And the Pelicans have some pretty tough matchups, so it might be in their best interest to, if he's ready, bring him back out. I just think that Zion needs to be on that team. Zion needs to be that guy on the Pelicans. If he's not now, he's never going to be, because he's been on that team. He is a generational talent. I would say Zion's a generational talent. I really would. Has he played like it since he's been in the league? He's had flashes, but the injuries and everything else has definitely gotten in the way. But I think that kid is a generational talent. I really do. And kid, I mean, the guy's probably older than me. But anyway, so yeah, I think that the Pelicans need him back because they've got the Kings, they've got the Grizzlies, they've got the Knicks, and they've got the Timberwolves. That is not the easiest last 4 games. If you want to stay in that 8th spot or move up even, you need to have your best guys out. So yeah, the Pelicans are a good team. Again, I want to say this though, the Lakers could absolutely take the Pels in a 7-game series. If we're talking 7-game series, it's not even a competition. I'm giving it to the Lakers right off the bat because the Pelicans are a very inconsistent basketball team, and the Lakers are finally starting to show more consistency. So 7-game series, I'm not giving the Pelicans even a chance. In a single game, in a single play-in style game, it is definitely different than a 7-game series. It is more like the style of March Madness where it's one and done. Once you're out, you're out. Now, 7th and 8th, obviously the loser of the 7th and 8th game does get another shot to compete for the 8th seed. So honestly, if the Lakers can stay within 7th and 8th, regardless of whether they win that game or not, they still have a chance to play again. Or if they did get bumped back, I guess they still would if they win that 9-10 game. So I don't want to set them up for that, but it just seems like the Lakers have been that team and they haven't been able to accomplish what they've needed to accomplish, that we almost have to look at it like that. So again, Pelicans are a good team. Without Zion, the Lakers would stomp them 7-game series or just 1 game. But it does look like Zion will be back. So I predict if the Lakers play the Pelicans in the play-in, it'll be a really, really, really close game. But if everyone on the Lakers squad is healthy, we're beating them. I don't think we're going to stomp them, but we're definitely going to be able to move past the Pelicans if we have our entire squad. The second play-in game that I can see happening is the Lakers versus the Timberwolves. Now, again, the Timberwolves are a team that they have also been ridden with injuries. Cat just came back. I'm going to be honest, I didn't even remember Cat was even out. I knew he wasn't playing. I'd watched some games with the Timberwolves, and I'd not seen him play, but I just had completely forgotten because he'd been out for so long. But Cat is finally back, and the Timberwolves are... They honestly don't look that good at the moment. They're currently on a 3-game losing streak, but the hope is that they can get that turned around. They play the Nets today, and then the Spurs, and then the Pelicans, and frankly, they can win those 3 games. They can absolutely beat the Nets, they can beat the Spurs, and they can beat the Pelicans. So, yes, they're on a 3-game lose streak, but I do think they'll be able to stay afloat, and they could easily find themselves bumping up to 8th. They are currently 9th, but I can definitely see them getting up to 8th potentially. And let's say it's seventh seed Lakers versus the 8th seed Timberwolves. Now, here's what I want to say. Lakers versus Timberwolves, we were lucky enough to just see that. So it's kind of not easy to predict what that game would go like, but it's easy to say we just saw this Lakers team take on the Timberwolves, and we saw them handle them pretty well. They handled them extremely well. They handled business. Now I'm not going to say it was a cakewalk. It wasn't, but we did win by 12 points, which is a really good margin to win by. And our players played great basketball, highlighted by Anthony Davis, who actually went down with an injury. But nah, he said, I'm the best center from Kentucky. I'm the best. And he came back, finished the game, and they won. And that goes a long way. That for me, like, I feel like part of the reason Anthony Davis came back was because, like, that matchup against Cat, that battle for the best of Kentucky, that always holds a little extra weight. And so, in a play-in game, that would hold even more weight. If we play the Timberwolves, AD is going to go off. As long as Mr. Glassman isn't out, he is going to go off because we already saw him do that against them just literally not even a week ago. So I feel really confident in that matchup, and I don't think we'd have any problem. I think we'd stomp the Timberwolves. I would rather have the Timberwolves in a play-in matchup over the Pelicans by far. I just don't think the Timberwolves are a team that can really keep up with us, and the Pelicans are a team that I do believe can, but the Timberwolves, nah. We've got them. I mean, honestly, they have Rudy Gobert. Yeah, like, they have Cat, but you almost wouldn't be able to tell they have those guys. Like, you almost wouldn't be able to tell. Cat doesn't really play any defense, and Rudy Gobert is just kind of showing us that, yeah, he is an overrated. He was overrated, okay? Let's be honest. The curtain's been pulled back. Anyone that didn't think Rudy Gobert was overrated before, I hope thinks that now. So, anyways, that is neither here nor there. I just don't think this Timberwolves team can keep up with us. So, if we're matched up against them, I do think we can handle them. Now we're going to take a little bit of a shift and look at a different alternative, which is the Lakers don't even have to be in the play-in, and they just end up making the playoffs, which, again, is very possible. Even with dropping that game to the Suns, they very well could still make the playoffs and not have to be in the play-in. So my first matchup there with where they could be seated, it has them playing against the Kings, and excuse me, hold on, wait a second. Sacramento Queens. They got to change that. I don't know why. I don't know why they haven't changed their logo to that yet. They've got to change that. It's really confusing. People will call them the Kings, but it's the Queens. Anyway, Sacramento Queens, got to give them some credit. They've not been a good team since before. I don't know. Were TVs even around the last time this team was good? I don't know. They've been not good for the longest time. They have been the worst team. I would say that the Queens have been the worst team in the NBA a lot of seasons. Whether that be record-wise or not, they've still been one of the worst teams, and they have not had any success at all. This is the most success they've had in years. And yes, it's great. Good for them. It's good to see another California team actually, like, playing like a California team should. Like, that part's cool. That's good. But at the end of the day, this is the same type of thing as if we were playing, like with the Pels, how I said in one game, you never know, but in a 7-game series, I don't think that this team can take us. I think pound for pound, the Lakers are a better team for a 7-game series. The Lakers, if this team can stay healthy, are a really good team for the long haul. They're a really good team for, like, not just 1-2, like, they're a really good team to build up and build that on. So I feel like I don't know. It's a possibility at the moment that we would match up with them. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're a team that we can sleep on, but I definitely think we could handle business. I just feel like it's definitely a team that we can take because, to be honest with you, like, for me, the Timberwolves beat this team March 27th, 119-115. Okay? That you don't get beat by the Timberwolves like that if you are a good team. I'm sorry. You just don't. The Jazz beat them on March 20th, 128-120. Tell me, how is this a team that is really they're not a contending team, first of all. First and foremost, they're not a contending team. They've been beat by the Timberwolves more time than they've been beating them, and they're not a team that I think is going to be able to go far. I just don't. I think they're a team that's bounced first round. No matter who they match up against, I think the Queens are going to be out the first round. At least they made it to the first round for the first time in years, but I don't think that they're going to be that big of a threat, especially if they go up against the Lakers. They don't have anyone that can stop AD. That's the biggest factor on the Queens. They have nobody that can stop AD, in my opinion. No one that can stop AD, and they're going to have a really hard time slowing us down. Yes, the Queens are a fast, younger team, but the Lakers are starting to play with more speed and more defensive ferocity, and I just don't think that this Sacramento Queens team can take it. So if we are matched up with the Queens in round one, hey, looks like we're going to round two. And this is the next playoff matchup, round one, I see, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because the Suns are not a team I want to see in round one. The Suns are a team I'd like to see later on, because I think if you can get through round one and you can build that up and you can start that path correctly, you can take a team down like the Suns. But matching up right away with a team like that is not a good way to start the playoffs. I mean, the Suns, again, they're on a 5-game win streak. They look fantastic. Kevin Durant looks great. The entire team, not just KD, looks great. I mean, his last game, he had 35 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds in 35 minutes. He looked freaking fantastic. He looked solid. He looks like Kevin Durant. In my personal opinion, he looks even more like Kevin Durant than he did back in Brooklyn. And the reason is because he gets to be in a Kevin Durant situation. He's not the leader. The spotlight's not 100% on him. He's being plugged into a really, really solid team. If anyone knows anything about Kevin Durant, he does really well in situations like that. Throwback to the Warriors. So, anyways, Kevin Durant's in a good spot. Kevin Durant is balling. Kevin Durant is hooping and playing really good basketball. And I will admit I enjoy watching him hoop because he's just a straight baller. But I will not enjoy watching him put up big numbers against us. What I will say is this: 7-game series, different than just one game. So it would be a lot harder. This is the flip side. I've said this on the other end of stuff, but now we're a team where it's going to be a lot harder to beat this team in 7 games. Matter of fact, the only Western Conference team I'm sitting here saying that I can even see beating the Suns in 7 games is the Nuggets. That's it. And that's because of Jokic. Guys, that brings us to our final topic of the night, which is actually going to be a little bit of a look into Lakers' future, also known as free agency. Free agency is a little bit of ways away. We're not even in the playoffs yet. I mean, we got some time before we actually have to look at free agency. But there are some really key players that are going to be free agents. There are actually 8 Los Angeles Lakers players that are up for free agency. So what we're going to do in this last segment is I'm going to rank them 1 through 8 and go over why we should keep them or why we wouldn't be too bad not to keep them. So let's get right into it. Coming in at number 8 for me, it should be no surprise, Troy Brown Jr. I don't want to disrespect him. I don't want to say anything that's like disrespectful, but honestly, we could definitely upgrade his position for sure. I will say this about Troy Brown Jr. He's only 23 years old, so he's a pretty young player, so he has plenty of time to develop, but I really don't think we should retain him. He put up 7.2 points per game, 4 rebounds, 1.2 assists, and 0.8 steals, 0.2 blocks. Not terrible, all in 24 minutes. Again, that's not terrible. That's like very respectable stats, but I just think we need to upgrade that position and kind of get stronger in that position. So I feel as if moving forward with him wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I wouldn't be mad. I mean, he's a 37.4% from 3. That's not terrible. 43.1 field goal percentage. Like, he's not a bad player. I just think we could upgrade that position. So that's why he's 8th for me. He's the last player that I think we should re-sign, just because I truly think we could upgrade that position. And that's no disrespect to him. He's still a very talented player, but I don't. Coming at number 7, we have Scottie Pippen Jr. And Scottie Pippen Jr. is tough for me because he would be way higher up on my list had we actually utilized him more. I'm a little bit surprised that the Lakers did not utilize him more during all these injuries and all these situations. We did fine. Obviously, we stayed afloat, but it just surprises me that they didn't use a player to his talent or to his namesake as much as they should have. So, again, I think he's a really talented player. I think that he is a super, super, super good player that's going to end up being really, 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 really talented. Obviously, he's undrafted, and he has been currently in the G League, but his stats on the team when he has suited up for the Lakers are 2.3 points per game, 0.7 rebounds per game, and 0.3 assists. So this is a very typical situation of a player that isn't really getting the shot to show what he can do, and he might get that shot somewhere else. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. The Lakers have quite a few guards, and I just don't think we're going to give him that shot. So I like him. I really like him. I love Scottie Pippen Jr. When I found out we got him, I was like, wow, that's awesome. Like, undrafted kid, he's gonna have a lot to prove. He's got that Pippen name. I mean, come on. And he has not been able to really show us what he's got. I mean, I understand why they haven't like looked to Scottie Pippen Jr. more, because again, we have a lot of guards, we have good depth in the guard position, and it wouldn't really make sense with the position the Lakers are in to put all of this on a rookie, especially an undrafted rookie. So, yeah, I think that it's unfortunate that Scottie Pippen Jr. hasn't gotten more looks from the actual Lakers, not just the G League team, but I do think that it is in everybody's best interest if that kid gets another shot somewhere else. Coming in at number 6 is Lonnie Walker. Now, here's the deal. Obviously, Lonnie Walker has had some really big performances for the Lakers. He's had some really highlight-worthy moments as a Laker. But the biggest problem with Lonnie Walker, and my biggest problem with re-signing him, is he's really inconsistent. One day he'll give you 20 plus, one day he'll give you only 5. And it's like, it doesn't really, like, the minutes don't change that. Like, he could be in 20 plus minutes and still be really inconsistent and brick a bunch of shots. So it's not a factor of not getting enough minutes, not getting the right lineup. No, Lonnie Walker has gotten plenty of looks as a Laker. The problem is he has had some injury problems, and he has also been inconsistent when he has had looks. He has also had very good games. Looking at his stats for the regular season, he's 11.8 points per game on 44.7 field goal percentage, 36.3 3-point, 2 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 0.5 steals, 0.3 blocks. Again, not bad at all. And he's had some really, really, really big nights. But he's really inconsistent, and his health is a really big problem. And the last thing the Lakers need is more players that they retain that have health problems. So I honestly, it's the health, it's the injury prone, and it's also the inconsistency that puts him at 6th. If you take those two away, he would at least sit up one more spot. But I've got to put him at 6th because the players that are above him, in my personal opinion, deserve to be above him. My number 5 pick is Rui Hachimura. So here's what I want to say about him. The main reason that I have him where I have him, he has not gone out and gotten the most minutes, the most looks. Obviously, with AD being out, Wenyen Gabriel, we have a lot of people, a lot of potential big men, a lot of people that can show up and show out in that position. Finally, because we've needed that. But what I want to say, the reason that I really like this kid is because his last performance on April 2nd against the Rockets. In 25 minutes, he had 20 points, 12 rebounds, 1 assist, and 3 blocks. That is the kind of player you want to have alongside Anthony Davis, whether that be next to him or behind him in the lineup. You want to have Hachimura because he is a young player. Hachimura is 25 years old. These are all players. A lot of these players that we're talking about are younger players, and that's the exact thing the Lakers need. The Lakers need youth. Match the youth up with the vet experience. Don't go all vet like last season. We know how that went. So I like the fact that these players are young, and I really like Hachimura's game, especially before he came to the Lakers, when he was down in the Wizards, and he had to really show up and show out because, come on, the Wizards were losing every single game, even when he showed up and showed out, but he at least was trying to do something to help, and he was. I mean, his last season in the Wizards, he had a really solid season, and his numbers have gone slightly down since becoming a Laker, but not by much. That's the best thing. Even though his minutes have gone down, his numbers really have not gone down. He is still that consistent guy that can get you right around 9 points a game. He can get you pretty close to a double-double most games. He will not get a double-double every game, but he'll get you at least, I'd say, 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds a game. And he'll match that with, 8 to 15 points, and that's really solid. What more can you ask? I mean, maybe we even see his position evolve and see his place on the Lakers evolve as well. So I would not be shocked if we see him get more looks, and I'm all for it because I really, really like Hachimura. I would love to keep him. I would love to retain him and build that position up. Coming in at number 4, we have a player that we just got, and that would be Malik Beasley. Here's the thing about Beasley. This is tough because Beasley has had some really great shooting games for the Lakers. For example, the game against the Timberwolves March 31st. He was 3 for 4 from 3. He had 9 points. That's awesome. His game against the Rockets, though, he was 3 for 11. The game against the Bulls, he was 0 for 1. So he's inconsistent, but he is one of even with his inconsistencies, I would say he's been really consistent from 3. LeBron needs to have guys around him that can shoot threes. And that has been one of the biggest things that he's been lacking on the Lakers, really his whole time there. We got Danny Green, that didn't work. Wesley Matthews, that didn't work. So we keep trying to surround him with these shooters, these more, veteran shooters, and it hasn't really worked. Malik Beasley, I like that pairing. He's 26 years old. This is another guy that is not super old. He has plenty more time left, plenty more time to grow. There's a lot left of Malik Beasley in the league. And he is really, 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 really dangerous from three. Once he gets going, like again, in that March 31st game against the Timberwolves, he was 3 for 4 from three. He was almost perfect. He had a great game. And those threes came at really important times. So Malik Beasley is the most successful shooter, I would say, that we put around LeBron so far on the Lakers. I know it's not been that long. I mean, we can't say that quite yet. But from what we've seen, I would say he's one of the most, if not the most, consistent shooters that we've matched up with LeBron on the Lakers, or at least one of them. There might be one above him on this list, but he's up there. So I've got him at 4th because I'd love to get him back. I would absolutely love to get it. I mean, the best thing we could do is to build this team up and start with the players we already have, like Malik Beasley. We need three-point shooting. He is a pretty solid three-point shooter, 35.2% this season. I mean, he's a baller, 11.1 points per game, 3.4 rebounds, 1.1 assists, 0.9 steals, and 0.0 blocks, but that's not a surprise. On 38% field goal percentage and 35.2. I mean, this guy can hoop, this guy can ball, and he can score, and we need scorers. So he sits at 4th. I'd love to get this guy back. Sitting at number 3 is Dennis the Menace Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder, this is his second time as a Laker, and I loved his first time as a Laker. I loved what I saw out of him when he was a Laker at first, because he came out and every single game, Dennis Schroeder gives it his all. He is so quick. He will drive to the hoop fearlessly. He will do what some guards are not willing to do. He's that guy. He really is. I really like Schroeder. I'm really glad he decided to come back. I'm really glad that we can reconcile. I love seeing Lakers come back for a second time, and it's like a second chance. And so far, he's been making the most of that. And he has been a huge, huge factor in their success. And I am super excited to see him come playoff time. I think he is going to be a huge factor in how far we might be able to go. Because again, not only is he really, really good at moving the ball around, he is very fearless in the way he plays. And he will drive in and do things that some other guards won't do. So I'm a big Schroeder guy. He's one of the people that I think we need to get back. And currently 12.7 points per game on 41.8 field goal percentage, 33.3 from 3, 2.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 0.8 blocks, and 0.8 steals and 0.1 blocks. So super talented. I mean, he'll get you on both ends of the ball. He's aggressive. He's in your face. And I really think that Dennis Schroeder is a player that we should retain. And he's high up on my list. I mean, he's even higher than Malik Beasley, who offers up more three-point shooting. Number 2 is D'Angelo Russell. Now, this is Russell's second stint as a Laker as well, and he is making the most of it. He has, again, had a couple of injury things, not been the most consistent overall every game, but as a whole, D'Angelo Russell has played great basketball, and he looks like a player that we would be dumb not to pursue again, because not only is he offering you really good ball movement with 6.2 assists per game, he is also offering you really solid three-point shooting with 39.1 field goal percentage from 3. So he is a really solid point guard. I mean, he has plenty of time left in this league. He's only, 27 years old. He's got so much time left, and he is truly a player that is a spark plug for teams. He is a player that can go out and make a difference and make a change, and he can definitely orchestrate the speed and the tempo of games. I've already seen that as a Laker. He's done that. And, LeBron is that guy that you usually think of for any team he's on, controlling the pace. But D'Angelo Russell's done a really good job of kind of taking that over. Now, LeBron is still LeBron, obviously, and he still controls what he wants to control. But I feel like Russell has kind of taken up more of the pacing on himself, and I think that's good for the team, and it's looked really good. Now, my only concern is the injuries, and now, speaking of that, for tonight's game, he's been downgraded to probable. or from probable to questionable versus Utah with left foot soreness. So the injury is a problem for me because I'm talking about injury prone players. I'm talking about this. I'm talking about that. The reason I don't have him lower is because he offers up so much when he's healthy, and he is not a player that is always injured, that I do think that it would be smart to retain him even with the injuries. I just think another thing, rehabbing and just getting healthy during this offseason. I don't know if any of these players can even get fully healthy in this time. So it might also take just the offseason for him to get like fully healthy, because he's struggled with that foot, and he's struggled with, chronic knee soreness. And like, I don't know, I feel like he has a lot of stuff going on injury wise, but he does a really good job of controlling it and playing through it and still being a really good piece. So he's my number 2. And number 1, I hope y'all know who number 1 is. Y'all better know who number 1 is. Coming in at number 1, I don't know if y'all knew he was going to be on this list even, but Austin Mofo Reeves. Austin Reeves has just shown that the Lakers know what they're doing. I when I look at Austin Reeves and the surgeons he has had, I look to Jeannie Buss, I look to Rob Pelinka, I look more to behind the scenes of this team, and I'm like, you know what? They're responsible for getting this kid. So, the behind the scenes is responsible for getting this kid, this 24-year-old GOAT, as some people already want to call him. But no, all jokes aside, I mean, this kid can hoop. He is an absolute baller. And yes, he had one really good game last season where he hit that shot against Dallas, and it was like, oh, Austin Reeves, and he kind of became a meme, and they, whatever. Like, he kind of became something last year. But within the last month, he has just gone off. March was that kid's month, because that is when he really started stringing together those really, really, really good performances. And he looks like a player that he's not, like, people were comparing him to Caruso. And here's the thing. They're both white Lakers basketball players. That's literally the only comparison between them. I don't really like how people are trying to compare the two, because their games could not be any different. But Austin Reeves offers up so much more offensively than Caruso did. Caruso was like our secret weapon. Like, he could come out and make big plays, but he wasn't super hyped up. Austin Reeves is a different kind of player. Austin Reeves maybe doesn't have the hype. I mean, the hype is building now, but Austin Reeves might not have the same hype that Caruso had, just because Caruso was like out of nowhere, throwing down high-flying dunks, dunking on people, but Austin Reeves is a better player overall. They're definitely different players. You can't even really compare them, but Reeves is just a more productive player overall, especially offensively, and that's the thing that the Lakers need. We need solid offensive players, because the NBA is an offensive league now. You cannot have a good team if you don't have one of the best offenses. So, Austin Reeves has been balling, and people were like, well, when LeBron comes back, his minutes are going to go down, and his points are going to go down. Well, first of all, yeah, points and how much that kid touches the ball is going to go down, because when AD and LeBron are on the court, those two are realistically going to have their hands on the ball more than anyone else. LeBron and AD are going to get more touches, regardless of if that's dishing it around or taking the shot. They're going to get more touches. But Austin Reeves, since LeBron came back, has still been hooping, because LeBron James is not an idiot. As a matter of fact, like I said earlier, he has one of the highest basketball IQs. He is a genius when it comes to seeing the game of basketball. And I know he knows Reeves is the real deal, because the game against the Rockets, Reeves had 18 points, 4 for 7 from field goal, 1 for 2 from 3, 1 rebound, 8 assists. That is baller status right there. That is not, I am going to arrive. That is, I have arrived. Austin Reeves is that guy. And unfortunately, because Austin Reeves is that guy, other teams are probably also going to be interested. And he has made it clear he wants to go wherever he is paid. Understandably so. The Lakers have messed up this before and not paid players enough or not gone after the right players. So my hope is that they pursue Austin Reeves first and foremost. And I know they're already talking to him and he's already expressed interest in returning. I mean, that's what they say, that's what they report. But again, that's not official. So time will tell. But again, any of these 8 players, I wouldn't hate having back. Even if you're Troy Brown at 8, I wouldn't hate having back. I just think the players that are top 4 are must retains. We need to get these guys back because they are players that could boost us to not just a successful end of a season, but a successful entire season next season.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up another episode of Purple and Gold Zone. I promise I won't make y'all wait like 2 more months for a new episode. I plan on doing one next week. One actually right after the season wraps up, because the season, I believe, wraps up on Sunday. So plenty more basketball to talk about. And as always, go Lakers. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Make sure to tune in next episode. Also, make sure you check out Well Beyond the Arc on the Yankee and the Brit YouTube page. Also, the Connor and Heffernan Show, potentially dropping a new episode this Friday or Saturday, or at least just look out for those. Plenty of fun episodes there, good stuff there. Thank you guys so much as always. I'll talk to y'all soon.